DoorDash's new driver tiers have caused quite a stir with the driving community. But why? This just rolled out to a bunch of new markets. So, we're going to talk about it again. But before we do, pause the video and leave a comment letting me know if you have this in your market yet. I've already done a high-level overview of this new system, but in this video, we're going to do a deep dive and talk about what it means for you. I want you to think back to your childhood. Do you remember collecting cereal box tops to redeem what ended up being incredibly cheap prizes? This was clever marketing from the cereal brands because it encouraged you to buy and therefore consume more of their product. Same thing with arcades. We could walk in, drop 50 bucks just to win some piece of crap prize that cost them $1 to buy. But it's not just kids that fall for the marketing and that hit of dopamine. Adults fall for it all the time as well. I worked in a casino for years, and nearly every aspect of a casino is designed to give hope and take money. If you drop $150 just to win back $100, you didn't win $100, you lost $50. Why is that such a hard concept for some to understand? Those loud machine sounds indicating that somebody else just hit it big aren't a coincidence. They're to remind you that you might get lucky as well. I could go on and on about this, but I think you understand my point. The same thing is true with gig apps. These rewards are the gig workers' equivalent of some cheap plastic prize from an arcade. And frankly, I find it astounding that many drivers don't seem to realize that they're getting almost exactly what they had before. At least most drivers anyway. There's an old saying that I'm going to butcher and probably have to say 6 or 7 times to get it right. Shelly sells seashells by the seashore, but she also sells rocks and pine cones. Shelly is having a hard time selling people useless shit, so she decides that she needs to revamp her marketing. Rather than selling seashells, rocks, and pine cones, she now sells a nature package consisting of seashells, rocks, and pine cones. And you guessed it, for a marked up price. Nothing's really changed except the marketing. Now everything is combined into one package, and the only other thing that's changed is the price. And who benefits? Shelly. Shelly's trying to use marketing to pass off the same worthless stuff as brand new and exciting. Alright, enough with the analogies and tongue twisters. What are the new driver tiers? What's changing and who do they affect? Now, before we get too far into the video, I'd love to get ahead of the comment section and say that yes, this is not in a whole lot of markets. Yet. However, it's getting rolled out to more and more markets, so it's just a matter of time before it's everywhere. I'm of the opinion that DoorDash is making it increasingly difficult for drivers to earn money due to oversaturation. So, I understand that many of you are going to have higher acceptance rates than I do. Matter of fact, it would be pretty hard to get much lower than me. This video is less about the types of orders you'll receive, but more about the marketing and the small changes you'll see along the way. Let's take a look at the tier requirements, the rewards, and the changes you can expect to see with the new driver tier system. There's 3 tiers. There's silver, gold, and platinum. For silver, you're going to need an acceptance rate of at least 50%, a completion rate of at least 90%, and a customer rating of at least 4.5. What does that make me with my 1%? Fucking 10 tier? This isn't new. This is the freaking diamond program. This will just get you access to high-paying orders like this one. To reach gold tier, you're going to need an acceptance rate of at least 70%, a completion rate of at least 90%, and a customer rating of at least 4.5. So, what will gold get you? Well, it's going to get you the same shit as silver, but now you get advanced scheduling and access to VIP support. Personally, I don't view anything that has to do with support as a perk, but let's continue. Let's talk about early scheduling for a moment. For those of you who are in one of the markets that has the new driver tier system and used to have early scheduling, the only way to get it back now is to raise your stats to the point that DoorDash feels it's acceptable. I'd like to point out, in most markets, 70% acceptance rates will get you the ability to dash now. That along with a couple of other requirements. Note, you do not get that in gold tier with a 70% acceptance rate. For that, you're going to need platinum. To achieve platinum, you're going to need a 70% acceptance rate, a customer rating of at least 4.7, and a completion rate of at least 95%. You'll also need 100 deliveries in the last rolling 30 days. This will get you the same stuff that silver and gold offer, but now you'll have the ability to dash now anytime as well as access to the large order program. This is the one that I want to focus on the most, as it's where most of the changes happen. In my opinion, the large order program was the only program that DoorDash offered that actually gave a perk to the driver. This used to be a relatively exclusive program, with invitations being exceedingly rare. This helped prevent oversaturation. If you're a driver with the large order program in one of the markets that has the new driver tier system, I hate to say it, but your priority to actual high-paying orders is now being shared amongst a ton of new drivers. On top of that, if you're in one of these markets and in the LOP, but your stats fall below the new thresholds, you are no longer in the LOP. To drive this home, if you're in one of these markets and you were a cherry picker, you almost certainly have lost access to the large order program. I want to take a moment to address drivers in small to medium-sized markets. Don't think that raising your acceptance rate to 70% and meeting the additional requirements is all of a sudden going to start generating huge orders for you. This is a change to our requirements, not a massive influx of new customers placing giant orders. If you live in a town with 5,000 people, you're probably not going to notice a bit of a difference with the addition of the large order program. Let's move on to a couple of other changes and talk about how they'll affect drivers. Chances are, you've heard of Hell Week, and if you haven't, it's where top dashers cherry pick all month long, and then the last few days of the month, they take almost everything to raise their acceptance rate back up to 70%. Other than the fact that if you actually got better orders, you wouldn't need to cherry pick all month long. DoorDash effectively killed this strategy with these changes. Here's the thing. You used to qualify for Top Dasher for the next month, but now, the moment your stats fall below a certain point, you're no longer Top Dasher or LOP. That means that on Monday and Tuesday, you could be a Top Dasher and LOP. Wednesday and Thursday, you'll lose it. Friday and Saturday, you get it back. To summarize this part of the video, you no longer earn these perks a month at a time, but rather, only as long as you keep your stats up. Don't get me wrong. I never thought that Top Dasher was anything special, but now I especially don't see the point on raising your acceptance rate to 70% for the privilege of accepting more garbage orders whenever you want. On top of that, if you have hundreds of additional drivers in your market that were just given access to the large order program, are you really going to notice much of a difference? At least under the Hell Week method, you could cherry pick the rest of the month, but that's no longer the case. I give it 6 months before the new driver tier system is in almost every market in the country. If programs like Earn by Time and the Diamond program have taught us anything, it's the fact that this new system will be almost everywhere in no time. Earn by Time started not too long ago in 2 markets, and the Diamond program started as the large order program in just my market last summer. They expand these programs because drivers fall for it and they get more orders delivered without paying us more for them. Now, I kind of touched on this a moment ago, but I want to do a deeper dive. Who will the new driver tier systems actually affect? In my opinion, existing large order program drivers, and not in a good way. Sure, for the LOP, you do have to accept 100 orders a month, but prior to this new system, there was never an acceptance rate requirement for entry in the program. Now, you have a 70% acceptance rate requirement, as well as competition from potentially hundreds of new drivers entering the program. If you are in the large order program, share your thoughts with me in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with my synopsis? Although their website did answer many of my questions, this time, it did leave a few unanswered. For example, if you were in the LOP prior to the new driver tier system and lost it, what happens when you go to a new market? Do you have it back, or is it just gone for good? If you have the answer to that question, do leave it in the comment section and I'll pin it for everybody to see. To wrap up this video, I want to talk about how you should adapt to this change. If you're a driver like me with an incredibly low acceptance rate and it's working for you, keep doing what you're doing. Nothing's really going to change for you. However, if you have an acceptance rate high enough to qualify for one of these programs, just be mindful that you cannot cherry pick and then make it up at the end of the month. If being in the large order program is what made DoorDash worth it for you, then that's likely about to come to a screeching halt. Get activated on as many apps as you can. At the end of the day, this is not a reward system for us. This is a ploy and fancy marketing to get more orders delivered for them. Programs like these exist for them, not for us. I'm a firm believer in cherry picking and multi-apping. If you're a driver in one of these markets with these changes and you've been afraid to let your acceptance rate fall, now is the time that you can try my method. Worst case scenario, you can raise your acceptance rate back up in a couple of days. We should be gig workers because it benefits us. We should never do it to serve them. Every order you take should make sense for you financially. As always, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with my viewpoints, or do you think I'm way off base? If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like button and subscribing to my channel. My name is Zach. Take care.